Everybody sign from this side?
I think we just need Randy, right?
This side? Here.
Yeah, I think we just need him.
Do you get to Carlos too?
Carlos.
Alright, are we on? Are you on, Carlos?
Mhm.
Okay. Before we start into the TAs and the proposals that we're exchanging, I had a couple questions on your UA 21, because I was trying to get that done, but then I was looking at our last one, which we had proposed in our final 4/8/15 1 p.m. the whole city's collective bargaining agreement. There's a section in there that I show we had already tentatively agreed to on the actual working hours part, not the callback, I guess. And that was on page 10 of that. And when I was comparing them, a lot of the parts that you have in green are actually different, it's different language, because I had actually picked up a lot of your language on my last proposal. And so I was having trouble just I wanted you to go ahead and look at that. I'm looking at callback because we hadn't addressed that one. But in TAing the first part.
Let me see.
Okay, I'm looking.
I made our proposal on,
The 8.
4/8/2/15.
and I said I'm responding to city proposal 4/2/15, so let's look at your
Yeah.
4/2/15 and
Yeah,
find
well,
out what
the last
happened.
one, I have that, we. At 4:08 1 p.m., after your proposal from 4:08 9 a.m., we submitted our 1 p.m. and that mirrored all your language, and that's why I had outlined it in green, because we had agreed, we basically agreed to all the language under the working hours section.
Which one are you're saying your 4:08
Yeah,
PM
my
proposal?
final 4:08/15 1 p.m. I can email it to you if you want.
I got it,
Okay.
I just had to get the right one.
And it's on page 9, it starts on page 9.
Okay.
And there's a couple of things that needed to be fixed, like I put operational instead of operations, that needed to be corrected, but the substance had all been agreed upon. We had adopted a lot of your language.
You know, okay, I can see what happened. You see, I'm responding to the city proposal 4/2/15 at 1 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And you can see that in my language, after the little, I've got a little like page 7 to 8,
Mhm.
that's from your proposal. So I was taking language, I think, from your proposal and showing in blue where I had changed your proposal, so it may have been ships passing in the night.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure, and
I mean,
I
I
just
don't mind
wanted
going
to-
back and comparing it to your 4/8 and,
Sure, because I just wanted it, because I'm going through this and I'm trying to and I'm like, wait a minute, I think we already agreed to all this, and I just wanted to forego all this extra duplication of work if necessary.
yeah.
So look at my, what we had accepted on just the working hours part, and I think the only part we took out the special holiday provision, because we addressed that in holiday and holiday pay, that was D.
Right.
And the only thing that we were looking at was supposed to be callbacks, because I thought we'd already agreed to everything pursuant to my 4/8/15 1 p.m.
Okay, so are you saying you want to go back to the language in your 4/8?
Yeah, I think
15,
that's
1
what we,
p.m.?
yeah, and we had
Let
adopted
me,
most of
I'll look
your-
at that right after lunch.
And that's why I hadn't emailed it to you, because once I was doing that, I was going back, I said, wait a minute, I think we may have missed something at some point, so we just need
Probably
to.
just ships crossing in the night.
Yeah, so we just need to reconcile that, and we'll be able to get that to you pretty soon after lunch.
Okay, so
We should probably be able to TA this one today.
Are you gonna go back to that language and?
Yeah, I had planned to, because we had already accepted it. I don't wanna have to go back and reread everything.
That's fine. I won't do it then, and I'll just look at yours, but I'll compare it to the 4/8.
Okay, so then I'll just include whatever we had, is in green on my 4/8, and then you can compare it, and that'll be the easiest way.
Okay, okey-doke.
And so I'll be able to get that to you pretty.
And you're saying your
pretty-
4A was accepting language that I'd given you previously?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I'm all about
Yeah.
agreeing to stuff that I proposed.
Okay, so I just wanna clear that up before we started.
Okay.
And then, I see that you have emailed us a TA on sick leave, which we're reviewing. I looked at the, you gave us UA 27, I looked through that. I wanna go over your changes there pretty quickly, but let's go over the UA 27.
Okay, you wanna do that?
Yeah. I think everything on the sick leave was pretty much agreed to yesterday, it's just the.
Yeah,
And you change that instead of annually once per year, and that's fine.
yeah, I think we talked about it at the table yesterday, and that's what you were shooting for, so.
So then.
So we're looking at my new 27?
Yes, your new 27 from this morning.
Okay, as I noted in section 1, I changed the wording a little bit, but it's the same as your proposal in substance. If you
Okay.
see anything that you feel is not the same in substance, let's talk about it.
Okay.
In section 2, I added a phrase, because obviously the agreement does modify
That's right.
174 a little bit. So, and then, your language and impasse can only be reached on mandatory subject of bargaining. I took that out and put what I think is an accurate statement of the law. Neither party will insist an impasse upon a permissive subject of bargaining.
Okay.
Okay?
I understand that.
And then the duty to bargain in good faith is the
You've added
one where
some
we.
exceptions, yeah.
Yeah, and what I've done there is I've tried to, give you the 60-day and any agreed extensions part. We won't, the team won't, the officers won't, members who are acting on behalf of. In other words, we can't do indirectly what we do, won't during that 60-day period and any agreed extensions, we won't go to the council. But
Okay.
I wanted
On
to
matters
make.
related to the bargaining.
On matters
Right,
related to the
and that's our
bargaining.
understanding too, okay.
But we can talk to them about unrelated matters. Unfortunately, this last go-around in 2014, we had the election simultaneous with, and we have candidate forums, and so they felt like they couldn't talk to us. And then I'm preserving our right to go to them and talk to them about the issues related to bargaining after the pre-impasse period.
Okay.
And then, what I put was communicating with the public concerning issues affecting its members.
Now would that be to subjects that aren't being covered by bargaining? Cause bargaining's only gonna be either 60 days or the 60 days plus extensions that are mutually agreed upon. On the
Right,
communicating with
right.
public concerning issues affecting its members, would that be any, even subjects that are being talked about at the negotiating table? Or would that be?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it would. I can tell you as a practical matter that the way we're doing it right now is the bargaining team and the officers aren't talking to anybody about anything. I've been the spokesperson, and I've been saying really innocuous things even when the reporters ask me questions. Always very complimentary of your entire team, of course. And that's the way I envisioned that we would handle it, but we just can't tell, what would come up, and we're very jealous about guarding our First Amendment rights. And, communicating with the public about issues of public concern is something, but are we gonna use that as a means for end arounding? No, we're not. And same with that thing after the 3 bullets. We can't really control 400 members or whatever it is. I don't know if it's 300, 400, but it's somewhere in that range. We can't control them, but what we are saying is this, that we won't use them to do indirectly what we're saying we won't do directly.
Okay.
We won't say, hey, member John Doe, I can't talk to the council, so I want you to go to Councilman Susie Jones and tell her that, hey, the bargaining team's really stuck on this issue. We won't do that. But, just like I think last year, somebody who wasn't a member of the association went to the council and put in his 3 minutes on the public comments about Station 18. And y'all let him do that. and say, well, he's not a member. Well, you know, if we'd put him up to that, that would be wrong. Okay, we didn't. And we're not gonna put up members to do for us what we're saying we won't do. So for
Okay.
60 days, we're saying, or any agreed extensions, we're saying, you know, we'll keep it at the table.
Okay.
But, you know, I mean, that really, well, that's what that means.
Okay.
And I'm being honest with you, this is about as far as we can go to deal with that problem. We're really trying to make sure that you have a comfort level, and I think agreeing to the impasse procedure really resolves a lot of these issues anyway. Ultimately, we have to prove the reasonableness of our positions to a neutral fact finder. And so that's one thing, and the other thing is that, you know, this is a, you know, really a limitation to some extent on First Amendment rights. I mean, the bargaining team literally isn't going to be talking to the council members for a period about what may well be matters of public concern. So we really wrestled with this, but I think it gets the city the protection they need. I don't know that we can go, you know, further than this, but I really am trying to get something so we can get past this issue.
Okay, can I just broach on the second bullet, which says making factual presentations to city staff and city council members concerning negotiation issues after the pre-impasse period? You're talking about during mediation, fact-finding, and arbitration.
Right.
The only, you know.
And afterwards, for that matter, but of course,
Yeah.
after arbitration, it doesn't really matter.
Right, and you know, you're right, we're working and I think we're very close, I think we're gonna TA the impasse procedure today, once we go through it. And as you see, I've also, in this, which I think you have accepted in the bargaining period, agreed that the negotiations should happen at least 6 months before the end of the term of the agreement.
They should start before, and I think that's reasonable.
Right.
Because, you know, we want really to be able to go through the arbitration process.
Right,
if
and that
necessary
would
during
give us plenty of
6 month
time
period.
instead of, you know, we're up against the end of the contract. So it gives us enough time, and it still kind of stays with the same kind of schedule we're all used to anyway, kind of starting in March, April, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the minimum. It doesn't mean that we can't start in January, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but-
and, you know, and I haven't put it in here, but I'd like kind of an you know, one of the things that I find particularly tedious about the statute is that if we want to talk about compensation and other matters that affect money, that we have to give you notice 120 days in advance of the end of the of the start of the fiscal year. And, you know, of course, I've never bargained on behalf of a union that didn't want to talk about money. And it just seems like a kind of, you know, one of those gotcha requirements. But if we start 180 days before, you know, it seems to me that we don't give you a notice letter. We just get the parties together and we start talking about when are we going to bargain. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
I do, but
There's a
that's-
letter in there 120 days before. Well, if we're bargaining 180 days before, we're already going to be talking about compensation, so it'll be pretty obvious we want to
Well,
talk
and I
about
think
it.
the practice is that usually, December or January, Carlos Flores, whoever the president is, sends out that letter anyway to kind of cover that whole year.
Yeah,
So
I know,
I
I know.
I don't think that.
We've got to
hurts
start off more or
anything.
less a farm letter. I
Right.
think that I don't know if Carlos uses ours, but we've got one. It's
So-
just one of those little things that, it's never come up. I mean, we've never forgotten to do it, but it just, you know, it just seems like,
Well, and
useless,
the
I mean.
thing is that even though the city has elected to recognize collective bargaining and the association is the representative of the bargaining unit, we're not really required to say, hey, let's collectively bargain on wages unless it's requested by the union. So I think that's what it serves that particular purpose.
okay.
So,
Well,
and-
anyway,
and-
we don't
and-
have to,
Yeah, and this will give us plenty of time with 180 days, you know, that'll automatically set off, you know, hey, I need to get the letter if it's forgotten for some
Yeah.
reason or another.
I figure with
So.
extensions, that first period will go about 90 days, and then we'll have about 90 days to do the,
That's right, that's what I was thinking.
yeah.
So at any rate, with regard to making factual presentations to city staff and city council during the impasse procedure, my only concern is that we're still kind of negotiating during a mediation, especially. And then we go to maybe up to when we go to a fact finder. I kind of wanted to maintain the integrity of that particular deal, so I may, you know, and I'm just prefacing what I may be putting into a counter proposal. I still need to go through this entire proposal with my team and my side, but those are just my concerns. I don't want it to put a hindrance on actually, you know, if we really utilize a mediation the way it's supposed to be utilized with the impasse procedure we have created, I think it could be very fruitful. And I don't want any of these side issues to hinder any kind of progress that can be made.
The problem that we have, and I'm not talking about any particular person, I mean, you know that I do this around the state. The problem that we have is that we all, you know, it's been my experience that, you know, city councils often don't get correct information from city management. And we need the ability to say, well, they're asking for, you know, a 10% raise. Well, no, it's not. We asked for a 5% raise. Here's the proposal. You know, and literally, I'm not saying that particular thing has happened, but that kind of thing has happened. And we need the ability to be able to set the record straight. And, you know, we're depriving ourselves in this proposal. We're depriving ourselves of the ability to do that during the pre-impasse period. But, you know, on the other side of the coin, since we do have the impasse procedure, the need to do that is reduced, clearly, because ultimately, whatever our proposal is, we, you know, are going to need to be able to convince a neutral decision maker about the reasonableness of that proposal vis-a-vis yours. But at the point in time that we're post-impasse, it seems to me that, you know, it doesn't hurt to have more people looking at the thing. But are we going to start running to the council and trying to get them to, you know, ultimately we're post-impasse at that time, and we're moving towards fact-finding, and sure, we're trying to get things knocked off the table. Y'all are too. And that process is hopefully going to allow us to do that. But, you know, I'm really not aware of any city that I have represented where I've agreed even to go this far. You know, and what I'm really trying to do is avoid a situation like we had this time, where we ended up in litigation that, you know, is still, you know, hanging out there. So, you know, I felt like I really bent over backwards to try and meet your needs, but I mean, you know, just building a
No, and I understand.
wall
I think-
between us and the
I
council
think that
doesn't
we've-
seem productive.
Yeah, I mean, we've made progress, and I just wanted to fully understand what your proposal meant, because I think we have made a lot of progress on this particular section. So that's why I just wanted to be clear as to what it is that you understand these proposals to mean, and your additions, and that way we can understand and I can explain it properly.
And I chose the words carefully, you know, make factual presentations. We're not really trying to bargain with them. We're not going in there and saying, hey, man, if you do this, I'll swap this, and we're not bargaining with them. We're just, you know, giving them information. Here's our proposals. Here's, you know, what this is about, you know. I don't know what you've been told, but here it is.
Now, these presentations, would they kind of be like a formal presentation, or just kind of meet one-on-one?
It's most, you know, in my experience, quite frankly, it's mostly just talking with individual council members. My, you know, honestly, what seemed to get y'all bent out of shape this last year was a presentation that Carlos made, a 3-minute presentation that he made in the open comment section, which was a formal presentation. And it was about, I think it was about Station 18.
Yeah, and we disagree on
Well,
that, because it was a multitude of things all culminating at one time, so.
It may have been, but all I know is you know, it hit the fan the day after that presentation by Carlos and I think another member, another union officer, but.
Yeah, but there was also other stuff going on at the same time, which was a culmination of events. But let's focus on what we're doing here today, and I think
Okay.
we've made a lot of progress.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go through that and make sure that I understood where y'all were coming from. Okay.
I also want to make a pitch for keeping these as separate articles, because they really are, you know, one is about the negotiations and how they're conducted, and the other is about, resolving impasses. So, I mean, I understand why,
Okay.
but I just don't think we're gonna end up in impasse every time. I hope most times we won't.
Right.
I hope we've negotiated a elaborate procedure that we'll never have to use.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, okay, you wanna
Okay.
look at 28?
Yes. And 28 is the impasse procedure. Everything, let's see, I understand why you added Article 27 to this agreement on the dispute conference, because,
Mhm.
as of right now, that's how we have it, organized. Again, you did the same language, neither party will insist to impasse upon a permissive subject of bargaining, the
Right.
same change you made before. We'll
Right.
Look at that. Let's see,
And then the only other
one-
change is that item G on page 3.
I agree with that, the taking out package, cause
Yeah.
that is misleading.
It kinda makes it, yeah.
It's misleading. It's misleading to the fact finder. You don't want them to think they have to do the whole package. Our intent on both sides is that the fact finding board will see everything issue by issue.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll look
So
at
we
that.
are very close
We're
there.
very close. I think we'll be able to tell you this afternoon. Let's just
Okay.
go over it all with my team and make sure that everything's good. Okay. And then I sent you, what we have worked on the, healthcare,
Yeah.
UA 13.
And let me just say about that, Roxy, that we literally got that as I was walking out the
Sure.
door. And what I'd like to do is, I know it's close to lunchtime, maybe let us review that over the lunch period amongst ourselves.
Absolutely.
And then have that discussion. I think that might be more productive.
And let me just give you a general outline of what we're doing then. With regard to the healthcare plan itself, we went ahead and agreed to put all that stuff back in there that y'all wanted in there. We did add a little caveat in there. It says the structure would be that the healthcare plan document governs, but here we moved up. We do have some authority to change certain benefits with a lot of exceptions. We moved that paragraph up before that just to kind of make it flow, and that way it's known that even though this is a summary right now, it could change. Not that we're not intending to change it. Then we just made some other counter proposals on the affordable healthcare Cadillac tax deal. So just look through that and we'll go through that. But that's just a
Okay.
general overlook. Our intention is not to change the actual healthcare plan at all. We're just trying to clean up the contract and make it clearer. So just let us know.
Okay.
Just to let you know that this afternoon, Steve has some meetings going on, and he's, of course, the benefits manager. I'm not sure what time he's gonna be gone, but if we have questions for him, and he's not here, I'll probably have to take the questions, get them answered for you, and then come back to you.
Okay.
Okay,
Okey-doke.
all right,
Y'all wanna check in with each other about 1:30 or something?
sounds
like
good.
that? Okay, very good.
Whoops, I have a printer too, so if we were able to TA that stuff, I'll print them out.
Okay. Very good. Yeah.
Are we on time? Okay. All right, I have printed out the tentative agreements for sick leave and sick leave pool and the impasse. Impasse is a big one.
It is indeed.
It's a very big one. So we're gonna, I have those for us to sign, and we'll sign those, and then I've also emailed to you a city counter proposal on UA 21, which is the work hours and the callback procedure.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that?
We did, we were
Okay.
looking at it, we wanted you to explain it real quick,
Sure.
and then we're gonna go back and look at it. We may be able to get that TA today as well.
Okay, and it's actually really simple. I changed the title to work hours instead of schedule because we're really talking about the work week and the duty hours. So I did that. On section 1C on holdovers, I kind of just changed the structure of the sentence because it read really weird the way it was done. So I just basically changed the structure. It used to read, one way. Now it reads, if the firefighter is required to hold over to be on standby or to be dispatched to a fire or relieve another crew, comma, the city shall not be required to provide additional compensation for holdover assignments lasting less than 15 minutes.
Okay.
So I think it just reads better.
But it doesn't, you're not changing the substance
No
of that.
substance. It just didn't, the way it read, it was it sounded like a run-on sentence, even though it wasn't.
Mhm.
But it doesn't.
Probably was. That sentence probably got written in 3 different contracts over 3 different
Yeah,
periods.
and I was having a hard time, and then I was like, oh, somebody said just change it over. So the intent is not to change the substance, it's just to make it read easier to understand and read, because I was
Okay.
having a hard time myself on the pullback. And then on the callbacks, what we did on section 3A was just take out the policy number, because I think they're trying to clean up the policy and renumber them. And if that happens, we just don't want to be bound by that 101.09. So that's the only thing there.
But we're going to attach it as an appendix.
But it's going to be attached as an appendix. And any revised, if there's any revisions done under this proposal, if we tentatively agree to it, then we would attach that as well.
Okay.
On section B, I highlighted that firefighters will be briefed on any new callback procedures before they're implemented, only to ask the question that is, does that just mean what we're currently doing? And usually I think that all the firefighters are advised of it. I think it's emailed to them or somehow uploaded onto their continuing education. They have to read it, acknowledge that they read it. Then I think the supervisors may visit with them about it, something like that.
Yeah,
So-
it's not, I mean, we negotiated and agreed to it, and the association team can approve it, but just let firefighters know the changes that have been made before
Yeah,
it's implemented.
absolutely. And that's what's done with any change in SOPs. I just didn't want, I want to make sure that doesn't require us to do anything more than we're doing right now, because I think they have a pretty good system set up of
Yeah.
advising firefighters of any changes in SOPs.
Right.
Section C is what we had talked about a little bit yesterday. There was a conflict with what this said in the old contract and what the actual,
Practices.
no, not with the practice, what's actually in the policy. And so what I did was I just deleted the part that was inconsistent and basically put the language that was in the policy under that emergency callback definitions and put it in here. It should mirror exactly the,
Definition that's in the
definition
policy.
that's in the policy. And as I understand, it's the same definition in the old contract because that was not changed during the revisions.
Okay.
And I double checked that. So that was all. It's not intended to change what's happening right now. It's just, this was kind of unclear. That 45 days kind of became moot because they don't use a roster for emergency callbacks. And it is stated that people bypassed or not used don't lose their, or even called, don't lose their place in the roster anyway. So, but that's
Okay.
pretty much it.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. Okey doke, we'll look at that. I think we'll have a quick answer for you on that.
Okay. You want to go ahead and sign these two before we go into any other, do you have any other questions on some of the counter proposals we had given to you today?
No, we're gonna wait for Steve to come back. We got a couple of
Okay.
questions about the health insurance. We've been working on getting you a response on the health insurance. I think actually we're real close there.
Okay.
So,
Well, let's sign these, and then I do have I know that we were looking at a couple of others we had outlined, and I'll go over them, the ones we outlined yesterday. Let's sign these and I'll go over those real quick. Today's the 17th.
Yes, ma'am.
So the only thing I added to the impasse procedure are page numbers. It wasn't numbered, so I just did that. Because it's kind of it's a lengthy one. And did you hear me on that page, that I added page numbers to the impasse TA, so I'll just
Oh,
email you that.
that's fine. Yeah, that'd
I'll
be
just
great.
email you that so that you have that, 'cause
Okay.
we have the same electronic copy. Okay, we were looking at, Article 8, which is civilian employees. That kinda goes, I think hand in hand with, our management rights. I think we had been talking about that because, on one of the lists, one of the things we've been discussing was the city's ability to hire civilians for non-sworn positions, et cetera. So I think that we can try and deal with that when we touch upon the management rights, issue. On 9, the association rights, we're looking at that. We're gonna be working on some stuff, but we would also like to maybe see it, packaged along with, there are a couple of financial impacts on the association rights, one of them being, the president's time off and how he is paid. So, we're gonna work on the stuff that we can, but the other stuff, I'm gonna try and wean it out, see what we can agree to. But we would like to see that packaged with what the your financial, proposals. So we'll discuss, we're also looking at that. Supplemental rights and benefits, there's a lot of stuff that we do agree in, and that's UA 14. There's a lot of stuff that we do agree to within that, but there's a couple of sections, for instance, we do agree that there is a uniform allowance, we just, disagree right now on the amount. And that also has an economic impact. We're looking at I think there's an assignments preference form provision and the seniority deal. One of the things we would like to talk about with regard to seniority is how it affects the ability to staff ambulances, et cetera. So we'll work on that, and those provisions are probably, I'll just tell you, hey, with this little section, we're gonna hold off until we deal with this issue and try and deal with them together.
Okay.
Trying to consolidate them and I'm trying to get as much green as I can. Green is the agreed
Yeah,
stuff.
green is good.
Let's see, on the promotions, that is, we already gave you the Article 21. Promotions 23, we could probably TA that. We just, this is the only thing that I have a concern with, if I can pull it up. On Article 23, we agreed to everything except for, we had included a, kind of a reopener provision. And the real purpose of that was just to ensure that it was understood that the city retains its management rights to, designate the ranks or classifications and the numbers associated with those. Even, Craig, even without this reopener provision, you and I both know, and both parties know, that if a change is made that affects some sort of wages or compensation issues, we're required by law to negotiate on that. We can't unilaterally make that decision. So I was just kind of setting it out in the contract, but if we can agree on that on the first part of that wage proposal, that we do retain the right to establish those classifications and numbers pursuant to the CSA, that we really don't need this.
What I was suggesting earlier today is to the extent that we have something like this, and we're not rejecting it out of hand, that it probably makes sense to put it in the wage article, which I think is Article 9. Because that's the article where we talk specifically about the classifications. Okay, so we actually owe you counters on, I think y'all made the last proposal on 10, 11, and 12. Base wages is actually 10.
Okay.
And that's base wages, supplemental pays, and overtime pay.
Okay.
So we're probably going to give you counters on those 3 articles at the start of next week.
Okay.
Okay?
But
I'm not saying that they're going to be in the form of TAs, but
I understand.
what I hear you saying is that everything, like the union, I'm not sure I followed you on the civilian employees thing. I'm, on that one, and that's Article 8. That's a really sharp provision that just kind of try, it reiterates the requirement of the local the Civil Service Act, 143.04. There's a lot of case law under that. And what we try to do with the second sentence of that is just to identify the positions that, civilian employees are working in currently. And we're not really proposing, any change in the civil service law.
No, okay. Well, we didn't think so. I'll tell you the problem we have had with the examples, that little list of examples, is that those have been held, it has been understood by the union that those are the only positions we could fill with non-sworn firefighter, that those are the only positions, even though there may be other positions opened up that are non-sworn or don't require a firefighter, that those are the only ones that we can fill. And that's one of the big issues. That's not, that list was meant to be an example, not a limitation. And that's why.
Yeah, and it says include those. Actually, I don't want to throw a skunk in the jury box or anything, but I'm looking at that list and seeing some things in there that I would argue actually have to be performed by sworn personnel. Communications positions, for example, there's a case out of San Antonio that says fire dispatch has to be performed by classified personnel. It's a fact specific inquiry in terms of what are the actual things that they do, but but it's my understanding that communications here in Corpus historically has been done by non-classified personnel, so I was just kind of preserving the status quo.
We have a central Metrocom that employs a lot of people,
you have a centralized dispatch that dispatches police, fire,
yes,
EMS, everything.
And that's why here in Corpus, that case may be distinguished because of that. You're right. That case is very fact specific, and it has a lot of background facts that we don't find here.
Well, it could be, and I'm just talking off the top of my head, it could be that we just eliminate that second sentence and keep the first sentence and put that one to bed. And then we can argue about, in the context of the law,
Okay.
itself. Just look at
I'll
it.
look at it again.
I'd like to get that one off our plate. It's a short little thing.
Sometimes those are the
Devil's in the details.
That's right.
I hear you. And then the
on UA 23, basically what I'm saying, we can TA, and if we need to talk about a reopener, we can later.
Okay.
And we can.
That's right. You're not foreclosing. I'm just resisting putting it in the promotion article. That's not where it makes sense to me. But
Okay.
But like I said, we can certainly look at it at the concept in the context of Article 10, which.
Yeah. Well, it would affect not only promotional eligibility lists and how you promote into a promotional rank, but it would also address, if the structure was to change, it would affect base pay, step pay, things like that.
I don't see you. Right now the ranks are firefighter 1, firefighter 2, captain, battalion chief. I don't see you changing that. The only thing that you've got this funky, and that's my word, not my team's word, distinction you make between firefighter 2 driver and firefighter 2 EMS. But if you look at your classification article, you don't refer to them separately.
Right.
You pay them the same, but they do have different tests, and they do have, and your service in firefighter 2 EMS gets you an ability to test for firefighter 2 driver more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the kinds of things that obviously you would have to deal with, and
there's a lot of details you would have to deal with.
Right,
so
because
it's
somebody
not an easy
who's
thing.
waited for 7 years as a firefighter 1, thinks, well, I got one more year, and
Right.
or somebody who, studied and took the test for firefighter 2 EMS, and then they expect to be able to go up to driver more quickly than somebody who didn't. How do you deal with all those thorny
Well,
issues?
ideally, you probably have to do it a year and a half in advance to give her,
And-
work out these details and give
and
everybody
think about
notice.
grandfathering some people and
That's
that
right.
sort of thing.
That's right.
So, okay, but anyway, let's let me see if I can prepare you a TA on 23 without the reopener, with the understanding that we'll talk about the reopener in the context of
Right.
Article 10.
And the general issue is, we just wanna make sure that it's understood we retain the right that we have.
I understand y'all's
So,
position.
Okay, so we could probably TA that today.
Okay, so we'll look at 21 and 23. That's something we can do today. We hope to have you counters on 10 through 12 at the start of next Thursday.
We have a
And
couple
let's have an
counters.
early discussion on Thursday next week about health insurance when
Okay.
Steve is back. And because I think we're close there, so. And where are you on deputy and assistant chief?
Actually, that's one I'm working on, so I'll probably have that to you before the start of Thursday.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
I was trying to get it to you before right now, but then I had a kink and couldn't get it to the table right at 3 o'clock, so.
Okay, and then let me see, injury leave, we may have a counter for you on that
Okay.
pretty quickly. So that's one thing we've been working on, so. Okay. Let's see, oh, extension?
Oh, that's right, that was next on my list. We were looking at, we have one day set for next week, the 23rd.
Excuse me,
Sure.
let me get rid of this.
It's not Let It Go that, like that congressman had yesterday. Did you see that?
I have very insistent, oh yeah, with the
No.
ringtone.
Yeah,
Let
a
it go,
congressman
let
and a
it-
very big senate. I don't know if he was a senator or a congressman, but it was a big hearing. And his phone starts ringing. It's the Let It Go song, and he just says, "Let it go." Funny. Yeah, he said it was his grandchildren's ringtone. But okay, we have one set for Thursday, the 23rd.
Mhm.
I was gonna look that week of the 27th through the 1st gets a little hairy for us because I have my assistant city manager gone on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we do have city council meeting on Tuesday. We may, if I can get my calendar cleared, maybe consider 27, but I'm not quite sure.
I can't because I'm already committed in another
Okay.
city for another group on the 27th.
And since we're
But-
gonna be talking about some pretty hefty issues, I do want my management, make sure my management's here. I
Yeah.
think that's for it to work correctly. So,
I also think that trying to do 2 days back to back is more productive than trying to do single days.
yeah.
Because you build, 3 days, the third day maybe it gets a little,
I hear you.
but the second day can be a fairly productive day if you can
Okay.
have, so.
So April, that week of April is pretty difficult for us. I don't know that we can get anything set, that last week of April, but I think the first week of May, we're pretty much open. We don't have a city council meeting that week either.
Why don't the one thing we gotta do is sign an extension, because the act requires us to sign like
Okay.
15-day extensions. So do you wanna do a 15-day extension, do you wanna do 2 of them?
Let's do that.
Okay,
Let's do 2 of them.
okay. Why don't we tentatively, meet on the 6th of May and the 7th of May? That's that first week in May.
Sure.
Second.
Yeah, we're gonna have to sign 2 15-day extensions to even get us there, just because of scheduling.
Okay. What I'll do, I think I have,
I don't have a form. Do you have?
I think I have a form. I just gotta check and see if I got it on my computer. When we go to caucus, I'll look for that. If I
Okay.
do, I'll prepare. So I'm gonna go back, work, see what I can do on 21, 23, and those extensions.
Okay.
And we've tentatively agreed that after our meeting on the 23rd, we're gonna have a bit of a break the following week, and then resume on the next week, the 6th and the 7th.
Yes.
Okay.
For purposes of signing the extensions, is today considered the last day of bargaining or 23rd? Because we.
I think we agreed to extend it to the 23rd because
That's right.
20th was actually, I think, physically the last day.
That's
And, I mean, I think the last day fell on Saturday or Sunday, and that moved it over.
Right.
So the 20th was the last day, so I'll do one from like the 21st to May the 5th,
Okay.
and then from May the 5th to May the 20th.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Well, let me go
Very
talk
good.
to these guys about 21 and 23 and see what I can get y'all. And did we sign the others?
Yes, we did.
Yes,
Did
sir.
each party get a
Okay.
copy?
Yeah, where's my copy?
You want it?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
No, I really learned.
I won't even ask for it. I'll just take it.
All right.
That's okay, I think you.
Ready.
All right, I have, you sent me over 2 tentative agreements, one on Article 21 work hours and Article 3 promotions. On one of them didn't have page numbers, so I inserted it, but everything else is the same. On Article 23 promotions, on section 6, let's see, 6B,
Hang on one
we.
sec. I did something wrong there.
No, you just forgot to take out deputy chief. You took
Oh,
it
I
out in
missed
the
one.
title, but you didn't take it out in the sentence. that
So did you
follows.
take it out?
I took it out, and it was
Okay.
right here.
Okay.
You took it out here, and then I just took it out. It said deputy or assistant, so
Okay.
that was the only thing I
Very
did.
good.
On working hours, some of the operations firefighters or firefighting, it said operational, so the ones I caught, I changed them to operations rather than operation. Nothing substantive, I was just trying to
Yeah, be consistent.
catch what I could at the
Okay.
time. So, and then I also printed out bargaining extension agreement number 1, that agrees to extend the pre-impasse bargaining period for 15 days from, April 20th to May 5th.
Mm-hmm.
And then an agreement number 2, which does an additional 15-day extension from May 5th until May 20th.
Right.
So, I'll sign those. Okay, here's a extension agreement number 1. And extension agreement number 2. Here's Article 21 work hours, the first copy. Article 21 work hours, second copy. promotions, first copy, Article 23. And the second copy of Article 23, promotions.
Just to keep you, excuse me, updated on, I've been kind of looking at definitions as we go along. We use the term full something?
Full duty.
Full duty firefighter in the hiring article.
Yes.
And so I have written up a definition of that and added it to our proposal. Just as we come across terms, I'm adding them. Definitions, of course, is one of the
Okay.
last things we would do. But
If you want to, you can send me what you have and I can
Okay.
add whatever definitions, cause I had noted on some of my counter proposals, things that we needed to define, forgot what one of them, an example, but at any rate, I'll go back and look.
Okay.
I think we had proposed a full duty definition the last go around in 2014, so I'll look at that as well. Because we were using the term full duty, cause it was, there were words that were used throughout the contract that meant the same thing, but were different words, so we just decided to try and consolidate it with full duty.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send that to you right now.
Okay.
And it's not sent as a proposal per se, but just to let you know where I'm at.
Right, and I was kinda thinking that we could kinda both keep a running list and we can, work on it as we go.
Okay.
But we both do agree that we have to have a definitions section.
Oh, for sure.
In the contract.
Right.
Okay, and for the following, we're set up for April 23rd, next Thursday, and then we're going to do the postings and confirm with Del Mar, May 6th and 7th.
May 6th and 7th.
If there's a problem with the location, I'll just let you know and we'll figure out an alternative location.
Okay.
Okay?
very good. Y'all have a
All
good
right,
weekend.
thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.